Now, the Mile High City has a population of about 700,000 people, and with more than 1,400 sworn officers, the Denver Police Department is the largest municipal police force in Colorado. And running the department is no easy task. I recently sat down with Chief Paul Pazen, who has been in charge of the department for the past year and a half. Paul Pazen has been Denver's police chief for about a year and a half, so welcome to Politics Unplugged. It really feels like it's tough to be in the police business these days, given what we're hearing that's happening around the country. You're not new to policing.
You're right. Anne, first, thanks for having us. We're honored to be here. We appreciate it. You're correct. Policing is a very challenging world, but it's also a very rewarding world. And this profession gets an opportunity to give back to the community day in and day out on every single call that we respond to.
Was this a calling for you? I mean, I know you had said to me you wanted to always be a police officer, right?
I wanted to serve the community, and it's hard to find a profession that does more for the community than law enforcement. Growing up here in Denver, specifically North Denver, and really having those deep community roots, the community that helped raise me, I always wanted to give back, and whether that was in the Marine Corps or here in public safety.
I know you don't have anything to do with Aurora PD, but we've had some issues as of late with some officers who have been arrested for DUI. They have kept their jobs. Is it tough to find good people who want to be police officers anymore?
You know, recruiting has been a challenge across the country, except for the Denver Police Department. We are so fortunate right now. We are getting some highly qualified, highly talented individuals that really want to give back. And surprisingly, and we want to continue this, we are really seeing some top-notch individuals who care about this community, who are stepping forward and saying they want to be a part of this. And we're talking about diverse candidates, we're talking about women candidates, and we have a full academy as we speak, and we have hundreds of people that are applying for this great job. They recognize how much of an impact a police officer can have in a community, in a neighborhood.
And it's one thing to say you have people who want to give back, which is great, but there are so many hardships and frustrations on the streets that retaining good people has to be. How do you approach that so that it goes beyond just wanting to give back?
So this is part of our strategic plan. It's a stated strategic plan that any and all members of our department are aware of, taking care of the people who take care of the people. We talked about it earlier. This is a challenging job, but it's also very rewarding. And we want to make sure that when officers or civilians are exposed to vicarious trauma and some of the ugliness that society offers, that we support them in a way to ensure that they can get back to helping people without carrying that burden that they typically see on the street.
Well, because we've also heard about suicides among officers. That there's one nonprofit that says there were at least 228 officers who died by suicide in 2019. How are you addressing the mental health aspect of this job?
So we have a very robust wellness and resiliency program that helps us, and this is something that we are very focused on. It's something that we're very public about. It's something that we talk about. One of the areas is on our police IDs. There's a number so people can get help, something that they carry with them all the time that gives them that immediate number that they can get some assistance. But we're very public about it. We do some videos and some trainings on how to get help, on what to look for with our sisters and brothers in the department, on how family members can help. We recognize that we've made some improvements, but there's a long ways to go. We need to continue to keep this as a central focus.
Because we've heard that one of the issues is just the stigma of having a mental illness, or at least some difficulty on the job that will prevent, future promotion.
You're correct, and we take a different view on this, right? If somebody is dealing with some mental health challenges, that is a public health issue. That's a health issue. Just like if an officer breaks their leg, breaks their arm, we want them to get well and come back, and they're warmly embraced. We want to make sure that we give them the support that they need in order to keep themselves and this community safe.
Because you yourself, I mean, you teared up with one of your officers who was recently shot. Is that the message you want to say to your officers? It's okay to show emotion? Or feel?
Absolutely. You know, we're drawn to this profession because we want to help people. If we were to drive out to the academy right now and talk to any one of those 51 officers, they would, to a person, relate the same thing, to help people. Well, it's the same thing for the folks that are part of this department, part of this agency, part of this city that want to help. We care about the community, and we care about one another, and we want to make sure that we are there to support our fellow officers and civilian staff.
I know that you have said that you've made significant progress with regards to domestic violence and gang activity. So what specifically?
So we are very proud of our team, our domestic violence prevention program, proactively engaging with the offender side of the equation. This city and the nonprofits have done an amazing job with the Rose Andom Center and doing outreach to victims. That is wonderful, and that continues. We wanted to make sure that the other side of the equation, that offenders, that we are doing outreach, connecting them to services, so that way the violence doesn't occur in the first place. We want to break that cycle of violence, and we have done this. We've done thousands of outreach efforts. We want to make sure that we can create that intervention before the violence occurs in the first place.
And then I can't let you go without talking about gang activity and how you're addressing that.
So this is a little bit of a mixed bag.
Yeah.
We have an uptick in youth violence in the metro area, and this is a significant challenge for us. If you look at gang-motivated, gang-related, we actually see a decrease in those types of activities, but an uptick in youth violence. There's a hybrid, there's a transition that's occurring with young people. Social media has an impact on this. It separates, or it breaks down that separation of distance. And we're seeing a dynamic that we haven't seen before. So just like this is a shifting and evolving issue, we're making sure that our strategies are evolving as well. And we're working closely with our partners, our nonprofit, our faith-based, and other city leaders in order to address this uptick in youth violence. Is
that your biggest frustration right now? Or what is?
We have many challenges. We're also very focused on traffic safety. We want to make sure that people in this city can get from point A to point B safely, whether or not they're in a vehicle, whether or not they're on a bicycle, on foot, or a scooter. We need to ensure that every member of our community is safe. So lots of challenges, but by being strategic, by looking at smart practices across the country, by evaluating what works, by collaborating with the other city agencies, nonprofits, and faith-based groups, we're confident that we have a plan to address these.
What do you think about like the red flag bill, and that some sheriff's departments have said they don't want to follow that law?
So, you know, it's an important tool. It's, as described, it provides a respite. You're not seizing guns forever. You're not permanently taking a gun away from a person. But if an individual has mental health challenges and we can prevent harm to that person or others, then we will follow the law as written.
You think that's a valuable tool?
We will implement the law as written.
Mm-hmm. And the concept of the state legislature doing away with the death penalty, what do you think of that?
You know, we typically don't weigh in on those types of issues. If that's the ultimate decision, again, our job is to comply with our local ordinances and state statutes.
Chief Pazen, thank you so much for spending time with us today. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Ann. Appreciate it. Thank you.